हेलो, हेलो।
Good afternoon, everyone. Today, we are very happy to arrange this type of seminar. That is a very great issue for our environment and and this is very challenging issue for our global scenario. So we arrange a seminar on microplastic as an emerging pollutant, effects on ecosystem and way. And we are very fortunate that today we have one pioneer person on this occasion, Professor Dr. Mohua Saha, Principal Scientist, CSIR NIO, Goa, with us. We from our college, we are very very much thankful, Professor Saha. Now, I I would like to request to our most revered Principal Maharaj to felicitate our guest in. And now I would like to pray to our revered Principal Maharaj to deliver his welcome address.
Respected Moha Madam on the dais, in front of me the head of the Department of Geology and also the controller of examination of our college, my respected faculty members and dear students, those are present here, and research scholars also present here. So we are happy to organize this seminar regarding microplastics. And in this occasion, Moha Madam of National Institute of Oceanography, Goa, she is present here. And just talking few minutes before, she is especially in West Coast, she is the pioneer in this field regarding the microplastics in this ocean and the water body, especially marine. And nowadays this microplastic is a really hot topic. Everywhere microplastics, not only in water body, marine and water body. Now the microplastic polluted in all air environment also. And this microplastic after digestion and in this way goes to the nanoplastics, and it creates another dimension. So this maybe few years back it is in microplastic something a topic, but nowadays everybody are very much interested because due to its engulfing nature, it incorporates all the inhabitants, all the biosystem, ecosystem. So human should be alert in this respect. And for this purpose, we organize this seminar and especially this awareness also, and the work what is going on all over world and also the India, and how the India also not far away from the world trend. We are also in this march of the searching of this field, and for this purpose our Moha Madam present here. We are all waiting for her good deliberation, and students those are present here, don't talk. Students those are present here, listen her good deliberation. After that, interact with her. So this every seminar is important, not that you can learn through this 1 hour or 45 minutes deliberation, but interact through your questions, so that you can utilize your this 1 hour time in a fruitfully. Otherwise, it is wasting the time. So listen carefully, whatever in question asks, because he is a very good teacher, because more than 12 or 30 years here he is here in India, previously in Japan. My colleague afterwards introduced her. So after her talk, you interact with her, then you can enjoy this 1 hour time. So with this few words, I once again welcome her. I express my heartiest regard to her, because she agreed here to come, because she not come in Kolkata for in this purpose. She come from other engagement in another program, and only just taken a few hours she came here. And for this purpose, I once again welcome from this college, from on behalf of all the students, faculty members, I express my heartiest regard to her. So thanks all of you. Thank you.
Now, I am reading just very few words on respected today's speaker. Dr. Mohua Saha is a principal scientist at the CSIR National Institute of Oceanography, Goa. She received her BSc and MSc degree from University of Calcutta, before eventually completing PhD in Environmental Science at Tokyo University of Agriculture and Technology, Japan. She received Monvukago Kuso Mixed Scholarship in from Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science and Technology under Japanese government in 2005. After her 9-year working experience in Japan, she returned to India and joined as a senior scientist in CSIR NIO Goa in 2014, where she has established a pioneer research lab focused exclusively on microplastics and other co-contaminants, especially in Indian marine and coastal zone. Her research seeks to understand the source, fate, and ecology implication and anthropogenic pollutants in marine and freshwater ecosystem. Her research program uses tools from environmental pollution and environmental chemistry. She has actively engaged in microplastic studies, focusing on both biotic and abiotic component of marine estuarine system. Her lab is specially dedicated to microplastic research in India and contributes significantly to the global advancement of this field. She has published novel works on microplastics in various reputed international journals, establishing her as a leading figure in microplastic research worldwide. She is peer reviewer of many high impact factor international journals like Science of Total Environment, Journal of Hazardous Materials, Marine Pollution Bulletin, etc. And she is in editorial board of the Journal Frontiers in Marine Science. She also received Best Research Paper Award Gold Medal in the Second International Conference on Toxicology and Environmental Sciences, held in Jadavpur University, Kolkata. She has more than 50 publications in high impact factor journals and cited 9070 till December 2024 with a high index 31 and I index 42. So we are very fortunate to have Professor Shaha Madam, and I would like to request to respected Madam to focus on today's topic, that is microplastics as an emerging pollutant, effects on ecosystem and way. Please, Madam.
So, this is the mic. This pointer is not working.
This one.
Okay. This mic is not working, so I have to go here only. Okay, no problem. Yeah. Hello? Is it audible? Audible now? Yeah. Shall we start? It's working? Working? And now it's working? Honestly, okay. Is it working? Yeah. I think it's enough. I think people can hear me, right? All of you students, you can hear me? Okay. Okay. So, good afternoon, everyone. So, I'm really very happy to be here among all of you. and I'm really, I feel privileged to be pollutant effects on ecosystem and way forward. With this title only you can understand. These are the small things happen when the great thing happening, isn't it? So just ignore this and enjoy the talk, okay? From this title only you can understand that I'm going to talk about microplastics. So students, you may heard about a lot of pollutants which is there in the water bodies which we are really concerned, like heavy metal, arsenic, right? Some of the organic pollutants, maybe somebody heard about POPs. But microplastics, you may not be listening much. But yes, these days plastics are coming a lot in the pollution. So that's why today microplastic is very important probably. So before going to the microplastics, what is exactly microplastics? I want to talk about that what is plastics, because many every day in day-to-day life you are using plastics in every aspects of your life, starting from your toothbrush to the until you go to that story. Plastic is useful in many other places if it can be used in a limited manner. Where we are lacking, we are lacking in the plastic waste management. Until the plastic was used in a very limited way, it was perfectly okay. But then comes the single-use plastics in our life, and where we are so much habituated to use plastic cups, plastic spoons, and all those things, and we created a huge amount of plastic waste, and we don't know that how to manage. So we are completely unaware of the management of plastics. So that's how the mismanagement comes because of the unawareness of this about that, and because of that, in 21st century, we are creating this problem to the environment, and we find plastic is there everywhere. So first, the plastics pollution was very hugely appeared in the Pacific Gyre in 1997. Captain Charles Moore, he found this huge amount, it's as big as the Texas city. They found in the Pacific Gyre. You may know there are 5 gyres, right? All of you may know that South Pacific and North Pacific, Atlantic two, and then one is in the Indian Ocean, but not exactly in our Indian Ocean. We don't have any gyres. So when these plastics are coming to the environment, it is in the ocean in everywhere. It comes from the different sides, and it if you see this curve, in 1950 it was only 1.5 million metric ton, where it was very very small amount the plastic production, but it is gradually increasing until almost 400 by 20. This is like 2019 pictures, but now it is, they are saying it is going to be 600 million metric ton by 2030. So this that much amount of plastics are produced and consumed by us, and once it is the waste is created, it is going to the ocean, and in the ocean it is everywhere. It is on the ocean surface, in the beaches, in the water column, and also in the sediments. Now you just imagine if a substance is there in everywhere in the environment. See, obviously the terrestrial plastics waste you guys can see everywhere. I mean on the way when I was coming to this road, Shwan was showing me, ma'am, see such a big dump of the plastic waste, and I was really amazed to see that it's openly this much of macroplastics are accumulated as a plastic waste in the terrestrial. But imagine much more times higher than this amount is going to the ocean. So once it is going to the ocean, it is forming the different kind of plastic pollution. So in 2010, one scientist, R.K.M.V.C.College, she published one paper in Science regarding the plastic mismanagement of the plastic waste. And in that paper, they said that among 20 countries, India lies in the 12th position in terms of the plastic mismanagement. So shall we be very happy that we are not even on the first 10, we are in the 12th? Actually no, because by 2025 we are going to be in the 5th position. So the way India is developing, the way right now India, actually you must be very surprised to know, in terms of plastic production and waste generation, India is the highest, even more than China in the world. So if we see why India is so much higher, so a little bit of pictures of India's plastic production and waste generation. 22 million metric tons a year by 2020. It was 13.4 per annum. So this is by CPCB. Among the major plastic waste generated cities, Delhi is leading. So it is like 4,000 ton per day plastic waste are generating every day actually, and then Delhi itself is more than 600. The growth rate of Indian plastic industry is one of the highest in the world, even it is as comparable to China and UK. Low density polyethylene packaging are the major things. So they say that it is almost the weight of 900 Asian elephants, that much tons of plastics we are generating. So that much weight of plastic, you can imagine that how much we are generating. And if you see this curve, that this is US, which is 109 kg, then China and India is 11 kg per capita. So that much plastics are getting generated. So once these plastics are coming to the environment, now what is the fate? So coming to the core of this study and core of the talk today, what I am going to talk, which is microplastics. So once these macro-sized plastics are generated and dumped in the environment, it undergoes different kind of degradation. So that could be the photo degradation. In this picture, you can see the polymer. This is the major macro-sized plastics, and that undergoes to the degradation. That could be the photo degradation, chemical degradation, biodegradation. So several kinds of degradations plays a major role, and the plastics get disintegrated, and then it creates the microplastics. So now you will be saying, ma'am, only the degradation is the main reason of creating the microplastics? Actually, no. There are two major sources of microplastics. One is primary and another is secondary. So these are primary. What are the primary microplastics? The plastic resin pellets, which is the raw material. Any plastic product starting from this bottle to any other plastic packaging material that need a raw material which is called plastic resin pellet, which looks like this. and it is going to the all the factories and they use this. But you will be very surprised to know all over the world, every beaches you will find this plastic resin pellet. And when I was in Japan, I was into one study which is called International Pellet Watch. If you Google, you will find out details about this. So this was actually led by my PhD guide, who was Professor Hideshige Takada, and that's how I was introduced to the microplastics. So when I studied, I was usually working on the other micropollutants, but then I found that this is the microplastics which is creating the more hazardous things in our environment compared to other micropollutants. The second part of the microplastic is the secondary microplastics, which generate after the fragmentations of the larger size plastics which undergo to the degradation. And that could be the different sizes, that could be fiber or different shapes or filaments or fragments. And another thing, very important thing I have to say, that primary microplastics also comes from us. Ask me why. Because day-to-day life, all of us are using many of the cosmetics or personal care products. In that, lots of microbeads are there, and those are also a major source of primary microplastics. And the other thing, these days we are more prone to wear the synthetic clothes, right? If you see, like 50 years back, our great grandfather or those days, people used to wear more of cotton things, not much synthetic clothes came. But then we are in an era where we are using more of synthetic nylon, and this creates microfiber. So I will gradually come to those studies, but those fibers, microfibers coming from our clothes are also a primary microplastic these days, which is of major concern. So here is the definition of microplastics. So if it is greater than 1 meter, we call as a megaplastic. Then 2.5 centimeter to 1 meter, we call as a macroplastic. 5 millimeter to 2.5 centimeter, we call mesoplastic. And 1 micron to 5 mm, we call as a microplastic. Below 1 micron, we call nanoplastic. Now, even in the microplastics, now these days, at this age, we have two other categories called larger microplastics and smaller microplastics. If it is like 1 mm to 5 mm, we call as a larger microplastic. And if it is 1 mm to 1 micron, we call as a smaller microplastics. So these are kind of definition of microplastics, and how these microplastics come to our environment. There are different kind of sources, but we categorize as majorly one is land-based source. Land-based could be any anthropogenic phase which comes through some different sewage system, or land runoff. When we in the monsoon time we have a heavy rainfall and we get the runoff which carries those microplastics to the ocean or any water body in the rivers. So those microplastics are mainly land-based, which is like 70 to 80%, and 20 to 30% microplastics are ocean-derived, which comes from the any fishing nets or any kind of ship generated. So those kind of microplastics are the major source. In this picture, you can see that how these primary and secondary microplastics are mainly working as a source, and this creates a threat to our ecosystem, and gradually it transfers to the water, and there are other new things come up nowadays, the source which is the air. So air water surface exchange also brought the microplastics to the water body, and once this comes to the environment, what kind of risk it poses? I categorized, there are major three risks one microplastic poses, and you will be really very much interested to know those risks. Number one, the particle risk. Microplastic itself is so much hazardous to us. Once it comes to any biota or any our body, it completely chokes the system. It can completely even a reason of death or any other kind of hazardous impact. So that itself is a risk as a particle. The we call as a particle risk. Then the microplastic surface is a very good surface as a vector of all these chemicals, toxic pollutants. How many knows what are the toxic pollutants? Do you know what could be the toxic pollutants? So persistent organic pollutants is one of the major toxic pollutants we know as a POP. So you may know that this term comes more often in our day-to-day life. So POPs are actually lipophilic and it's not soluble in the water, it's hydrophobic. But then when these POPs are carried by these microplastics and come to our bodies are full of lipids, right? We have quite a lot of fat. So those fats are very much feasible to dissolve those chemicals from the microplastic. So microplastic is a very good carrier of all those toxic pollutants. And number two, another chemical risk what microplastics have is that microplastic itself has some plasticizer. Now what is plasticizer? You have this bottle. How many years or how many days this bottle will survive like this same form? We don't know, like years together, right? But how is that possible? If there is only plastic, it is not possible. So the plastic company needs to inject some plastic additives in this plastic products to make it more durable and sustain for a long time. Those chemicals like phthalates, bisphenol A, nonylphenol, these are also cause a very high chemical risk once these microplastics come to the ecosystem. And last but not the least, the pathogenic risk. These microplastics are a very good vector of carrying those pathogenic bacteria because the surface is very feasible to carry those bacteria, and this bacteria can come from the lower trophic level to the higher trophic level. So these are the major risks what a microplastic poses. In these pictures you can see we have found microplastics in the fish guts, in the seabirds. This is our study only. I mean, when I was in Japan, one of my colleagues studied this this bird, where the spring gland, one kind of gland, there they found this many variety of microplastics. You know, the pellets, the fragments, the fiber. It was found in the turtle. It was found in the every aspect. So as much as it is going to smaller, it is posing the more risk. So microplastic is having a risk, but when micro is going to the nano level, it is posing the more higher risk because it can go to the zooplankton level. Can you imagine if a microplastic can be so small, it can go to the human blood or placenta or human, the milk. So how small it could be that it can invade the blood cells. So that is the major concern when it comes to the nanoplastics level. So in India, we have a huge coastline, more than 7,500 kilometer coastline, and we call it as a IO Indian Ocean Rim. We have three major oceans: Arabian Sea, Bay of Bengal, and the Indian Ocean. So here, these coastal regions are very much affected by this microplastic, but it is completely understudied. The West Coast we are studying, being a part of NIO, we are studying a lot of places in West Coast, but in East Coast, not much study is going on, which probably you guys can do in future, right? So this iodine is very much important to be studied because it is as compared to as USA and China, that how big is the long is the coastline. So this also was studied by Zembeck, and that's how this importance of this study has come. So here comes our study in NIO, what kind of study we are doing. In 2015, when I came back from Japan, there was nothing. Nobody was knowing what is called microplastic study. Then this lab, we have established this lab where our first target was to standardize the method. Standardize and validating the method is very much important because before standardization, you cannot use any random method. You know what? When I came, I saw that people are randomly picking up the samples, and randomly few particles they show in the stereoscope microscope or any microscope and they say that these are the microplastics. There is no proper standardized method was followed, but we have focused on that and we have established that. And then also we started expanding our work, our major work on that: quantification, identification, characterization of the microplastics, and then the distribution, their pathways. So there are a lot of factors. Basically, this is our generation of the baseline data. We didn't have a single data when I came back from Japan. So that's how we started. We also worked on the sewage treatment plant, cosmetics, seafood, and also the pathogenic bacteria, which I told that this is major thing. So this is the main, you can say, the flow chart, where the simple way I showed that water, sediment, and biota, these are major three matrices, environmental matrices, where we developed our method. So in water we have this, basically if the water is very clear, we can just filter and do that study, but if it is having a very high particular load, we usually do the density separation. See, these are the technical terms. I will not talk too much of technical terms, otherwise you will be sleeping, I know that. But then I'm just giving a little bit of information. This is just informative. Later on you can ask me any question. I will talk more details about the technicality of the method. Okay. So for the sediments, we work on the density separation method, where we just dissolve those organic matter by hydrogen peroxide, and then we just filter it. And yeah, in my lab we have these three major instruments, which is particularly for the microplastic research work. The first is a stereosome. Once these filter paper are ready, then we check this microplastics first quantification in the stereosome, just to see their shape, size, color, and their morphological characteristics. Because stereosome can give you only the idea that these are plastic-like particles, but they cannot tell you that whether this is a polymer or not. For the polymer identification, that whether it is not an organic material, it is a synthetic polymer, for that confirmation we get that ATR FTIL or the micro FTIL. ATR FTIL for the larger size microplastics, micro FTIL we use for the smaller size microplastics. And the chemical analysis we do for in the GCMS mass. So we conduct this microplastic quantification in all kinds of matrices, as I said, water, sediment, and all sort of biological sample, whether it is a fish or shellfish or zooplankton or papers we have done or on that, and any kind of synthetic polymers or biopolymer that has been characterized by the micro FTIS. Now let me tell you one thing. You get 100 particles in the stereosome microscope, and you feel like all the color and shape, you feel like these are like plastic like particles. But then in the micro FTIR you get 70 particles, which is perfectly polymer. 30 you are not finding it. So how you can say that 70% recovery we have, that 70% of our particles are polymer. So that's how we express that very clearly. This was also not done before our standardization of method. But once we standardize the method and we also validate through the VU University Netherlands, participating inter-lab study. Inter-lab study is a study anybody can join. You can just Google, you can find it, you register your lab, and then you can use they will send you the samples, and you can analyze those samples and give them the results. And if you are passed, then you are like one of those labs that who are passed for the inter-lab study. That's how you can validate your method. So here comes that how we have done our standardization and validation of method. So first what I did, we have taken some 5 standard polymers: polyethylene, polypropylene, polystyrene, polyamide, and PVC. So these polymers, you know, the raw materials and the standards are available in any chemical shop. You can get it. And we applied all these things, all these different methods, ATR and micro ATR and diffuse deflection. Again, technical terms, I'm not going to the details, but yes, by day and night work. You won't imagine. The engineers came, me and my whole lab. We were like 3 days and 3 nights constantly sitting in the lab and tried all these methods for this method development. It was not an easy task, I must say. And then we got, once we were sure about our method, that which method is really good, like for us we found diffuse deflection method was the best. Without distraction of the samples, we can preserve the samples, and that can be the best way to understand the environmental microplastics. Once we are sure, we were participated in that interlab study where they have sent me the sand sample, which is like spiked with the known amount of microplastics. And once we analyze that, it looks like this. How you see that in this, these are the small fragments and fibers we have found. So we have given our results. How we match the result? The spectra we match with our library, and the library give us the best score. So we consider the 60 to 70% score is the best. It is very difficult to get that score also, the matching score. And once that we are sure, then we can understand that this is the perfect polymer, and we can report that. And you will be very happy to know that we were among those 100 labs in that 50% passed and 50% failed. And we were among those 50% labs who passed this test. That's how our method was validated, and we published this paper in Science of Total Environment in I think 2023. You get this paper in the internet. So once our method is established, then we expanded our work to the beaches. So here we are collecting the samples. Sometimes we collect the hand pick of microplastics. These are plastic resin pellets. We have to pick up with the tweezer. It's a whole day task in the sun. Whether it is sunny day or it is heavily rain day, doesn't matter. We have to go to the field. We have to do this work. And for the secondary microplastics, just now I told the differences. You remember, right? The primary and the secondary. So primary is picked by hand, and secondary is by the quadrant study. And we started first the 6 to 7 beaches of Goa, and that's how we have established our method. And we first found our results, that monsoonal difference and the characteristics of microplastics, their quantity in terms of plastic resin pellets. So we found that during the monsoon season, lots of fresh pellets are depositing in the beach, whereas in the dry season, something like this winter time, we get lot of fragmented and colored pellets. So we published this paper in I think 2016 in Chemosphere. So clearly we got polyethylene and polypropylene in our study. Once we got our first result in Goa, we expanded our work to the other beaches like Maharashtra and Karnataka. And we have taken like 5 to 6 beaches in everywhere. And in Maharashtra we took Mumbai, and in Karnataka we took some 6 beaches. And there also we found similar kind of polymers, but polyethylene was the major polymer we found in the pellet. So I'm talking about, these are my initial study when I used to work on the primary microplastics, which is the pellet. And since we got the polyethylene so much, so me and my students just thought, so why don't we just give this polymer to the biota and feed them and see what kind of reaction, because this is the highest number is there in the beaches. So what we did, we took the polyethylene particles, we crush it, we mix it with the food, and we have given that to the shrimp. A 72-hour study we have done, and we found that shrimp has clearly a different kind of enzymatic reaction, and shrimp didn't survive. So those enzymes like LPX, PAP, GST, you may know, you the biology guys. I'm not a biology person, I'm a chemistry person. My student was from biology. He found that, and then we reported that it was just a 72-hour study, and we got a very good result in shrimp. That's how we understood that ecotoxicological effect of microplastics on the biota is very important to study. which we are gradually developing right now. So after the beaches study, we have worked on the rivers and estuaries where surface water is collected by using the Nooster net, where we do 20 to 30 minutes trawling for collecting the all surface water microplastics. And for sediment, we use Van graph, where 2 centimeters of surface sediments are taken from the river, either it is river or the coastal, whatever the sediment we collect like with the Van graph. We also collect the water column sample with the help of Niskin sampler. So this is a brief methodology how we are doing the water and sediment. Here you can see once the sample is collected, we go through the sieve 5 mm, 1 mm, then 300 micron. That is the sieving categories and we are sorting it already. After 300 micron, we do the filtration and those filter papers are gradually analyzed in stereosome, FTIR and other instruments. Okay. Same also we do that scanning electron microscopy because we have to understand the surface of the microplastic, whether it is weathering or it is having a microbial influence. These are the many things you can see in the same result. Okay. And for sediment, as I said, we first dissolve with the hydrogen peroxide and after that sodium chloride density separation and then the same procedure as we do the water. So this is a very clear picture for the micro FTIR. You know, there is a small microscope where there is a mirror we use for the background correction. So yeah, these are the criteria. So these details I am not going to much. And how we see the morphology. First in the stereosome we see the whether it is fiber or fragment or film or there is a bead. So these 4 are the major category of microplastics we report usually in our paper. And this is the same as I said just now. Through the same analysis you can understand the surface texture, whether it is weathering, how much type of weathering is happening, and also is there any pits or is there any microbial influence. We actually got a lot of bacterial influence in the same results. So that is also a very interesting part of this. And then finally the polymer identification through micro FTIR. And yeah, that's how it looks. If it is a fiber, you take this portion and then go that in IR go through that. This is basically a reflection method and we match the spectra as I said and we find out the polymer. So this also we published, this one we published in, this is a river in Mandavi Juari estuary which actually is situated in Goa. So before going to the larger scale of river and estuary system, we first work on the small river, Mandavi Juari estuary, which you also can do that, starting from your small river. And then probably you can gradually work on the larger river like Ganga. So this is the microplastic study. It was a unit project where we were involved, me and my team. We used to go to the Ganga river starting from the Patna to Rishikesh. And there are many places we used to collect the sample like Varanasi, Allahabad, Prayagraj and then Haridwar, all the places, you know. And it was really challenging for us. Why? Because Ganga is not a very small river. As you know, if you go to the Sundarban, you know how much rolling it is there in the Bay of Bengal side. But then the similar things what we faced during the monsoon, it's a heavy rain. It was really challenging task to collect the samples. I must say that we didn't have boat, we have a chappu boat and somebody is doing this boat and somebody is holding this net. Sometimes we cannot move in the boat. We are stand still and watching in the same places. I mean, this I am telling you why, because this is very important. You know, one paper comes and looks so easy that the paper has been published in such a high impact factor journal, but the effort, the hard work behind that paper, starting from the sampling and then analysis and then the writing, this key step is so important. You have to give your 100% to all these three steps. Then only you can publish a very good paper in the high impact factor journal. So this is how we have done this And this constraint I just told that sometimes it was so shallow, the boat is stuck up and we cannot move. Sometimes it is a heavy rainfall and we are not able to hold our things. And you will be very interested to know that sometimes our coastal police help with the rafting boat. And in the Harrisburg we didn't have any boat. We have to do the sampling. One full day I was sitting in the police station just to convince the police we need a boat, please. And then they gave their rafting boat and we have done the sampling. So lot of constraint we have really gone through, and then we have worked this Ganga River's work, and our work was so fascinated sampling that Japanese team came to shoot the whole sampling procedure. They have directly showed that in the Japanese TV, NDTV, and then also it came to their newspaper, their Japanese newspaper, so which is kind of really fascinating thing. Finally, we published this paper. It was we started actually this work during the COVID. That was also a major constraint because COVID had no helping hand. And in 2024, finally we published this paper in Journal of Hazardous Material, 13 Impact Factors Journal, which is kind of really very good thing. So once we have done this study in the river and estuary system, then we understood from the source of this polymer, because when you are getting the polymer, you understand the source. Now tell me why we need to know the polymer. What we are going to do knowing the polymer? Just reporting polymer. These are the polymers we have. No. Basically, if you understand the polymer in microplastics, you can understand from which sources it is coming. For example, if you get polyethylene in microplastics, you understand that polyethylene comes basically from the packaging material or that sort of related plastics. So it could be plastic bags or other packaging material. So you understand the source. So if you want to report that, what you will report to the policymakers, that these are the sources, right? So that's how it is very important to understand the polymer of the microplastic. And once you know the polymer, you also understand from which sources it is coming. Just now I told 80% source are land-based and 20% are the ocean-based. Even in our water body study, we found that the major microplastic polymers are coming from the land-based. That's how I started working on the sewage. So what we did that we got different sewage outlets, and we collected the sample from this untreated sewage, and also we collected one sample from the treatment plant. These samples are only water samples we collected, and we have found various type of microplastics in both treated water and untreated water. So now the point is that even after treatment, we cannot trap the microplastics, right? That is the major part of worry. So then we found that what are the microplastics majorly we found in the sewage water, and we found that primary microplastics like cosmetics, just now I told, the personal care products and microfiber from the synthetic clothing, these are one of the major sources. And here is the study. You see these microbeads, these are different type of personal care products which we have extracted, and we found almost more than 70,000 beads, almost microbeads is there in the one tube of personal care product. Now tell me, is it worth using that kind of cosmetics which is giving so much of microplastics to the environment? So it's a matter of fact that you should think. And these are the microplastics. You see that kind of polymer which we have found from the laundry effluent. It could be the laundry or the household. We have taken different kind of effluents, and we have found different kind of microfibers, which is a major source of microplastics. So majorly 5 different type of polymer we found: polyethylene, polyvinyl chloride, polypropylene, and acrylonitrile. So acrylonitrile is nothing but the nylon and all. So these are the major polymers we found, and this paper also we have published in Science of Total Environment. Now summation of all these different type of polymer which we got in the water and sediment and estuary, sewage water and this washing machine effluent, if we do the summation of all these polymers, then we got these major 5 polymers are the common thing in everywhere. So that's what the major things what we can report to the policymakers, that where they need to work, where they need to control. So like polyacrylamide, it is majorly coming from the synthetic clothes textile industries. These are the major things. And also polymide, these are from the fishing nets. So I can tell the fisherman that where to control. You know, EVOH or a packaging material. EVOH is a major polymer which is found in the packaging material. Polyvinyl alcohol also comes from the different packaging material, like the multi-layer plastic. You see this lace packet or any kind of cheese packet. You think that this is one plastic? No, this has at least 3 or 4 polymers layers. We call as a multi-layer packaging. Now for scientists like us, it is not possible to give all these 4 polymers which is there in the 5 layers. How can we do that? We will get this surface and the other surface we can report 2 polymers. What about all those polymers which is there in the between? So you just imagine that this evolution and this invention of different kind of things is not always so fascinating. We feel that this is so nice, that is a multi-layer packet, yeah, we eat and just throw it. But you know what? Those multi-layer packets cannot be recycled. Let me tell you. If you are using one kind of polymer packet, you can still recycle, like a milk packet. That's why they said that you keep all those milk packets, give it to the recycler, they can at least do the recycling. But all these chips packets or biscuit packets and all these things that cannot be recycled, that is the major creation of the major plastic waste and the sources of the microplastics. So yeah, once we have done the work on the sewage water and the sewage system wastewater, then we are gradually moved to the seafood. Seafood is more content. We work on a lot of work, but right now I'm just showing you the few work. We took fin fishes and 3 kind of shellfishes like clams, mussels, and oysters. These species why I choose, because these are the major commercial seafood what they are eating in Goa. I must say maybe in your places it could be little different, but in Goa, being a coastal and coastal city, they are majorly depending on the seafood. Every fish thali, if you go to Goa, having this mussels and this kind of fishes. So that's how I have got this project from Goa state government, and we were working on the seafood. So we got several kind of microplastics like fiber, fragments, microbeads. These also we published first in Hemisphere, and right now our second paper is under communication, where we have done 250 numbers of different variety of the fin fishes and shellfishes, which is a huge number. My PhD students work day and night to digest all those 250 various type of fishes and those the seafood, finfish, shellfish, and other all related kind of fishes. Oh, in the finfish we have taken pelagic and benthic also, because we have to categorize that who are more affected, whether it is pelagic or whether it is benthic. Along with that, we have taken water and sediment also, so that we can relate water and pelagic and sediment and benthic, who are getting more affected. These are the major targets. Probably you can also start working on that. So once we have reported the seafood, and we are still working on that, the project is still running. And after that, we got a lot of microfiber in every this fin fishes and shellfishes and many other water and sediment. The main microplastics, if you read our papers, you can see the microfibers are the major category of microplastics which is there in everywhere. Now microfiber, I said that it is coming from the textile or the fishing net, but is that all? That's how we landed up to study on aerosol samples, because air is also a big contributor of the pyralgy. Now, if you see the condition of this time, what are the condition? The dust is itself is too much that we are getting this all these allergies and all. Along with this dust, you imagine if the microfibers are also roaming in the aerosol, then how much bad situation we have. Every day our our air quality is deteriorating. Is it only the reason of the pollution, other pollution? No. There are microfibers which are playing a very important role in the aerosol samples, and that's also we have found in our study. So this is the major microplastic we have found. You know, this first we saw in the stereosome, and then we have seen in the fluorescent microscope. Same particles, and it looks like that. So we confirm this is the polymer, and we confirm that, and that's what we reported in our study. We have published that recently. Yeah, this is also the part of the aerosol sample where we have got different type of polymers like PVC, PES, POM, and these are the major things. Among all, polyvinyl chloride. Now, if you remember, polyvinyl chloride, I told that it is there in the water and sediment and seafood also. The same thing we have found in the aerosol also. So that means these are also a major contributor which is coming to our day-to-day life. Not only that we are directly inhaling it, but also it is going to invading to the system, whether it is a cell or it is a gut content, it is going inside, and that's how it is affecting. Yeah, this is the paper we have published in aerosol, and I'm almost coming to the end of my talk, where I'm going to show you that how we can even think about the mitigation. Because being a student, all my students always ask, ma'am, it's so much microplastics, you are telling that here and there, what is the solution? What is the mitigation? So that's how we started working, that how we can work on the microbial degradation of microplastics by using the bacteria which is present in the microplastics in the ocean. See, I belong to ocean, so I can only work on the ocean, but you guys can work on the terrestrial microbe, whether it is bacteria or fungi. You can, what we did, we have separated, we got 36 bacteria colony from the microplastics, which is there in the water, in the sea beach. From that, almost 5 different type of bacteria, which shows a very clear, you see this is called zone of clearance. That means it is eating the plastic. Now, this is the proof we have got, and that means these plastics are really, these bacteria are really majorly eating, and we can patent it. So we patented it, and we have applied the patent. Now it is under that, the approval. Once it is approved, then we can disclose the species name. Right now I cannot disclose perfectly the species name, but yeah, this is the result. I can show you at least that we have got. So that's how one aspect, the mitigation, we have contributed. And another thing of the mitigation, what I think that it is in our hands. For example, before the COVID, our single-use plastic was banned. You know single-use plastic. The plastic which can be used only one time and just throw. We cannot use in the second time. So whether it is a plastic cup or spoon or whatever the plastic cutlery you use in your birthday party and different kind of things, we need to stop, right? So those single-use plastics were banned, and that can be implemented. That was implemented in different states in different ways. Let me tell you, the Indore has like more clean city. It was completely implemented. Maharashtra is implementing, but in Kolkata, I still see that a lot of plastics, they are not at all bothering to implement it. So my point is that the implementation there is in your hands. You guys are educated, right? You are coming to the institute. It's not only that you are studying the subject, you should be aware of your environment, and you should be really aware of what should be implemented, and tell your household people, like your members who are there in the house, your parents or other people, So that's how you can spread the awareness. So before COVID, this was the major problem, but then after COVID, the single-use plastic again incorporated in our day-to-day life in form of this mask, this gloves, this sanitizer bottle. You know, they say that 10 million masks per month polluting the environment, and this is so much of masks we are getting nowadays. See, it started from 2020, 2021. But do you think this will be generating microplastics in 1 or 2 years? It will take several years. And then we will come to know, oh, these are the microplastics contributed by that COVID-related single-use plastic. I have already got that proof. I hope I have this slide. Yeah, this is the slide. So what I have done, I have checked few gloves, which is usually used in the COVID time. And the polymer what I got, like butadiene rubber and acrylonitrile butadiene rubber, the same polymer I got in the microplastic, which is same like color and same polymer. So already microplastics started generating from this kind of COVID-related single-use plastics. So this work we haven't published. Also in this mask, one mask contains 3 kind of polymer. One is in this nose tip, and then is that elastin, this one, which is like polyester film, and PP is in the nose tip, and the blue part is the polypropylene. So 3 polymer in one mask. Wow, not bad, huh? So how many type of microplastics it will come from that? You can imagine that. So these kind of things are heavily affecting our blue economy, what we call as is blue economy contains everything like the species, the mammals, all the species which is there in our water body. So sustainable ocean-based economic model that is largely dependent on the coastal marine ecosystem, sea routes and resources, and this has been heavily affected by the plastics and microplastics pollution. So yeah, this is the threats of blue economy that I just tried to show that. Now coming to the way forward, I have already started saying, because I in my talk I keep on saying about way forward, starting from first slide to the last slide. I keep on saying that what is the way forward. So guys, you know that CR rule. Who knows that? Very good. So you already know that CR rule and where we should start. First is the reduction, then we can reuse the things what can be reusable, and then finally the recycling. Reduction means first cut down the single-use plastic, then reuse means the whatever the plastic things can be reused, that we have to do, and we can reuse that years together, and finally we have to if this dustbin is broken, then we can do the recycling. So we have to give it to the right recycling person so that it can be recycled. So these are the major things, and of course we are really depending on the circular economy. Lot of students are working now is entrepreneurship, where they are working on this circular economy, how they can collect the waste, how they can recycle it and bring the money, improve the economy of our country. That is also possible. But let me tell you one thing. The amount of waste we are generating every day that cannot be recycled completely. The people think that, okay, I have generated, I have given properly to the municipal corporation and they are doing it. No, they are doing this kind of dumping. They are dumping to the roadside, or there will be a dumping site where they will be doing the incineration, just burning the plastic, and they will say, okay, we are sorted. But actually, we are not sorted. So, first, very and foremost thing that we have to completely reduce the uses of those plastics which is not at all reusable or recyclable. That is very much important. And of course, we have to embrace our local, those vendors who are bringing the alternative of the plastics like a wooden spoon or the plastic straw. Now in Goa, plastic straw is completely banned. Paper straw, I mean to say, no plastic straws. Don't go as it was. So paper straw. So everywhere now they replace the plastic straw by the paper straw. Yeah, now you will say, ma'am, paper is again you are cutting down the tree and all this thing. But yes, of course, we cannot use that way the paper. But there are some organic people, the people who are using the organic material from the leaves and all, and then making those paper straws. So these are the industries developing which we have to really support locally. The all those vendors, and we have to use the local vendors thing so that we can improve our economic system in local level. Yeah, that's a major thing what I want to talk about our way forward. And yes, responsibility, yeah, the same thing, promoting the sustainable packaging, single-use plastic completely banned, and enhancing the recycling programs. Of course, now you guys are doing so much research work. I was talking to the students, and they are going to the remote villages of Sundarban. Of course, they are not using much plastic. Major plastic users are us who are living in the city. They are not doing, but still, the people who are unaware of that, for example, fishermen, they don't know how to discard this fishing net. They don't know how to really control that. So they are just discarding, and those fishing nets are creating those fibers and coming to our body. So those awareness you students can do when you are going for the sampling, or you are doing some other work. You can bring on that awareness in the local level. And of course, the microplastic ban is one of the major thing. As I said, that personal care product or this kind of all those synthetic things which is not required. Now it is online store, so much you can buy, right? The girls specifically, a lot of things they are buying. So try to understand the science behind that, what you are purchasing and what is there behind that. That is very much important to know that where to control. Yeah, and if a lot of trashes are there in the beaches and you do a one coastal cleanup day and you are doing Swachhta mission and clean up your institute, you think that, oh, that's such a great work I have done. But you know what? This is one coastal cleanup we conducted, and 2 kilometers only we could do in 2 hours. And we got almost 2 kilograms of total waste we cleaned up, and in that, more than 1 kilogram worth of plastic. You can see that how many plastic bags we have gathered in just 2 hours. So this coastal cleanup day will not work. One day cleaning up doesn't make any sense. If we are constantly throwing in the water and it is gradually coming to the ocean. See, I live very close to the ocean, that's why I can see it every day. Probably you guys are a little far from the ocean, you guys don't see. But just imagine that if you are throwing anything in the land, this is gradually going to the gutter or this nala, and through the nala it is going to the ocean or the river. So gradually you are giving the inputs to the main ocean. So that you have to understand that where to control. The basic purpose of this talk is not just a talk. The basic purpose is to make you understand. If today I am here and if I am able to make you understand that why I am doing these researches, why I am finding out the sources, and why these are the important, then probably my talk will be successful. Okay. So I think that's all for my talk. Yeah, thank you so much. And
dear students and research scholars, if you have any question in your mind, just without any hesitation, you can ask, you can discuss with our respected chief guest of this talk, Dr. Rahara, physical scientist. So, please interact with us. If you have any question, without any hesitation, you can only get few questions because time is running out.
Hello.
My one question is that there are now many bacteria evolved in the marine and other area, dam, or who are naturally degrade the macroplastic into macroplastic. So once a time arrive, that time the thing is there are a lot of microplastic in the environment. So it's a very big chance that are contaminated with the food and everything. So that time means like any fish or anything, when it's transported to anywhere outside, there are a certain parameter for viral load or bacterial load detection for, but when this stage is happen for microplastic, so what parameter should be checked before eating or anything, means anything developed till now or in this process?
So your question is that the degradation is happening and
Yes.
then what is the exact question?
Degradation is happening naturally by bacterial evolution,
Yeah.
but at a certain page means right now there are a lot of plastic in the earth. So
Yeah.
at a certain period happen when they are in a stage where microplastic is lot of microplastic present, because the last stage is micro to nanoplastic, as you say. So that time they are contaminating the food and everything. So any process is evolving or developing right now that can means detect the presence of plastic, means as you say FTIR, ATR, FTIR, or but these things are not too much easy to, means like for viral disease or bacterial disease we do real-time PCR or PCR based detection for a batch, but for this thing what type of detection method would be utilized in future or anything is running right now?
So see, basically when this is, that is the purpose of generating the baseline data. Once you are generating the baseline data, this area, if you are doing a special variation, you know the special variation and then seasonal variation. So every parameter you have to check. So, and which season, which area, which spot it is higher. That means that there are the inputs are more and there, whatever the reason, whether it is hydrodynamic, it's not only microbiome. Hydrodynamics plays a very important role. So this wave and currents and all, they gradually break the plastic much more faster than the other place. So there are a lot of factors that also part of our study, that we have to study that what are the major factors why we are getting so much microplastics in this spot than that spot, right? So based on that only we can say that from where it is coming and what could be the reasons behind that we are getting so much microplastics here. So the if we are reporting that, at least it can be understood and the control and that area, one of our studies we have done in the Mandavishwari river, we have done that before COVID and after that 1 year lockdown and after that we have done the same place the same study. And in this 1 year, 7 times reduction of microplastics happened, just imagine. That means what? The macro-sized plastics are not creating the microplastics very fast. It is only the outside input is creating very fast. And once that outside input is blocked, is stopped, that makes that difference 7 times lesser than the before it was. So basically the input we need to stop right now. Then only we can see a huge difference. Because microbial degradation or any other degradation comes to the skin once the input is there. If you are stopping the input, then these kind of things are secondary matters.
For now it's fine that for now, as you say, the outside input is the major challenge, but I say means the evolving bacteria is not that much, I think, as per study, but at a certain period of time, maybe not now, after 50 years or 70 years like that, there are a lot of microplastic generated from the macroplastic. So that time means for this detection technique, any evolved easy detection technique or what parameter or?
No, right now no easy detection technique. Okay. It is a very, very long process. But yes, the microbial degradation study what we are doing, by that we can at least understand what kind of bacteria are there. If now you get that bacteria in the water and sediments more, then you can understand that area probably microplastic formation is faster than the other area. So that can, those are the different perspectives you can see, but Very fast detection you cannot do. The detection is a very, very tedious job right now.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am. Um, that's a great lecture on microplastics, but in our infrastructure, we don't have GCMS right now. Okay, so GCMS right now,
Right now.
or
You need microsphere.
micro FTA also we don't have that in currently we have don't have micro FTA in working conditions. So if there are any method of spectrophotometric method of determining microplastics, that will be easier for us.
No, there is no special. I cannot give you any false information. Let me tell you, people are saying this. They publish also very low quality paper, where they are saying that any other method they are detected this is microplastic. These are all trash. If you want to really study, you have to do either microsphere or micro Raman or pyrolysis displacement. These are the major three instruments which can confirm the polymer and this can give you the information about the microplastic. No spectrophotometer and all it can do. But yes, through the stereo microscope, you can first level of analysis you can done that what are the number of plastic-like particles, their size, shapes and all, that you can understand. But confirmation of their polymer, you need either of these three instruments. Then only it is possible.
Good evening, ma'am. The general question would be, is there any possible way that we destroy the microplastics?
The question is not destruction of microplastics. The question is that stopping the input of microplastics because there is no distraction possible. Microplastic is itself is distracting other things. And this is not a, let me tell you one thing, this is not any chemical or this is not any, what can I say, that anything which can be distracted.
And the composition of that microplastics.
Yeah, this is generated from a source which we are day to day life we are using and we are generating. So basically, micro will form nano, nano will be like smaller and smaller unit. So basically, we have to stop. But one thing is that microplastics sometimes can be one polymer to another polymer. When it breaks down, see polymer is
Change in
yeah, polymer is nothing but the composition of the monomer, right? So when this polymer, so one polymer suppose is very very toxic, but if it is degraded, probably the other
become
polymer
beneficial or
it is less toxic. So that can be possible, or that we can work in terms of biotechnology research. But microplastic cannot be distracted because it is there in a huge amount.
already in our body.
Yes.
In
It is there in the system. So what we can do, we can stop that invading of microplastic into the system. That we can do.
also, you have said that self-healing water in Gangas. What does that mean? It means how the water is self-healing itself.
Self-healing.
Anyway, one paper was there. You have showing that self-healing water in COVID. Hey, this one.
Here?
Healing waters.
Healing waters are that how.
Oh, we are here, ma'am. You are doing the work.
This Japanese newspaper
Oh.
given the title healing water India's Ganges river cleanses itself during the virus shutdown. That's what I told, no? That during the COVID shutdown, the microplastic level has come down so much that they were saying that we were healing themselves.
Oh.
Basically, healing means there is nothing that the river will be disappearing the microplastic. Basically, the input has been stopped, and that is the reason that river's microplastic concentration has been reduced so much that we feel that river itself is healing the microplastic content inside that.
After the in outbreak.
After the COVID, again it is increasing. Right. So basically, what through this paper, what I showed that if the external input, what I said, the land-based sources are stopped, and if we can stop in our own level, then we can stop the microplastic input in the water body.
Is there any microorganism that can that can completely eat or decompose
Yeah, that's what I said, that some of the microbes are
eating the plastics?
Yeah. So that paper is going to be published very soon. Once it is published, probably you will come to know exactly which species.
Is there I have already heard one species.
Yeah.
Right
So
now I don't know the
again,
name.
this is the thing. Terrestrial and different part of land have a different species. Now here what we have segregated the microbes which is from the marine environment and which is a large number of their populations are there. So whatever you have seen, the terrestrial one, but you haven't seen any marine one. So that's the thing that marine microbes are different and terrestrials are working different ways. So all of us are working in different fields where we can understand that these microbes are more effective.
That you said that if we stop using of plastic, the company would still make it.
That you are asking me a very
When
lame question. This is very lame question. Many people ask me that, ma'am, we will be stopping, but production is happening. See, I am telling you, production and consumption is all interdependent. How, you tell me now, how this plastic straw got banned and then replace the paper straw, how it is happening? Since we are now aware, many people are going to the juice store and saying, I don't need the straw. So this awareness we implied. Then the company stopped making the plastic straw. Now the paper straw, similarly plastic bags banned.
Black, yes.
It's banned. Then paper bags started coming. So it is definitely in your consumption. If you stop your consumption, yes, that gradually the production will be stopped. So consumption is in your hand. That everybody they stop consumption. वो दुकान में आएगा ही नहीं ना. Understood? That's the thing you have to work. Production you forget. You forget that is none of your business.
And the last one is
that you have to do.
the last one is I've heard one like piranha solution or something. If we put plastic anything that piranha solution can degrade anything. So is there any chemicals that we make and we throw the plastics that will still be there?
Yeah, there are some research work is going on chemical degradation, but as such, no
Chemicals are made. Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Last question, because time is running out.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
I can hear you. Either mind or
And
right, right.
breaking of the bond are harder than breaking a bond of its monomer, because the bond chain longer and the bond energy is longer. So whenever we trying to break the bond, not possible. as usual. So whenever it converts to monomer, uh, can we break the bond with some energy, chemically, with some energy, because energy can break the bond.
So basically, why you want to break the monomer? Monomer is not the harmful thing, no, because monomer is not our concern. Our concern is polymer. So polymer we need to break down, and polymer we have to work. Yes, energy can be a good source, but that is the point. Just now I said that when the particles are there in the ocean, the wave energy is breaking the particles and the breaking the polymer. And I said even that one polymer to another polymer. But the thing is that the polymer to monomer going in the reverse direction is completely impossible. Once the polymer is formed, it is very, very difficult to make again the monomer. This is not a reverse reaction. So it is not possible to come to the monomer, but polymers can be breakable by using the energy, like wave energy and integration, but depends that what exactly you are using. That kind of thing. Like, but if you are using the heat energy and do the instrumentation, you say, oh ma'am, I did that, apply the energy and I broke that. That will cause another kind of pollution, right? So even usage of energy will be a very, very, you have to be very careful that how we can do that and then how we can break the polymer. So this is a kind of tricky thing, but research can be done. Okay. So guys, you are fine with the explanation. I mean, I just want to hear from you. Do you enjoy the talk? Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, and we are very happy to. Thank you, and we are very happy to arrange this type of seminar jointly arranged by PG Department of Zoology and Swami Vivekananda Center for Multidisciplinary Research in Basic Sciences and Social Sciences of Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda Centenary College, Rahara. And I think we are very much enriched by this seminar and also can estimate really we are in how alarming situation, and this seminar also got the awareness regarding microplastics. So this topic, I think this topic is very much important to be studied. So thank you madam for coming here and just presented this nice and enthusiastic presentation. So now I would like to pray to our most revered Vice Principal Maharaj, Swami Vedanuragananda ji. He is also the head of the department of our Department of Zoology and Department of Computer Science, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Respected Dr. Mahua Das, Principal Scientist, National Institute of Oceanography, Goa, respected teachers, dear students and participants of this one-day seminar on microplastics. So as we come to the final moments of this seminar, we are very much grateful to Madam for coming to our college from her very busy schedule to enlighten us on a very pertinent topic of microplastics. So on behalf of the college, on behalf of the Department of Zoology and on behalf of the Research Center of the college, I extend heartfelt gratitude to Madam for enlightening us on this topic. and it was really a very comprehensive discussion, and it was really in depth and quite an awareness program also, because many of us are still not that aware as far as use and misuse and waste management of plastics are concerned. So it is an eye opener for many of us, and so it was really a very important topic to face the challenges which we are already into and which will be entering into the next few years. So until and unless we are quite aware and we are quite careful, then things will end up into much more worse condition. So it was really a very important discussion. One more thing I would just like to share with Madam's permission, that Madam has started this work as a pioneer in India, because just before the seminar we were interacting with Madam, and Madam said that she was one of the first person to start a serious work on microplastics in India, when very few people were thinking of it. And she was working in Japan, and during that time she felt that she should come to India and she should start her work over here. So with that very difficult decision and facing lots of challenge, she came here and she settled in NIU and then started this pioneering work on microplastics. So this is also very inspiring, that a person with such caliber like Madam, who had been settled in Japan, and still later on she felt that she should work in her country, and she came back and she settled here, and she is working hard, and she has contributed in this field of microplastics. So this is also a very special thing which I felt during her discussions, that we should be well equipped with all sorts of academic inputs, but also we should think that we should work for our country in different dimensions as far as possible. So this is also a great, this must have been a very great decision, a very challenging decision as well. But since where there is a will, there is a way, and when you have a good motive, then you can dive deep into any challenging research, any challenging work that will definitely take you forward. And so it is now all up to the next generation of academicians and scientists who should work on microplastics and try to minimize the evil effects of it. And so this was really a very new type of discussion, a new awareness, a refreshed awareness for us. So on behalf of the college, I extend a heartfelt gratitude to Madam for acting as a resource person for this seminar, and I also extend my gratitude to all the participants from different other colleges who have participated in this workshop, and we would also expect that in future you please participate in such academic discussions. And finally, I thank our Dr. Urnava Mukherjee sir, Shrayan and others for helping us in arranging this seminar, and I also extend my gratitude to all the teachers for participating in this seminar, and I thank all the students for their active participation and interaction. With these few words, I again thank you all. Thank you very much.